and it becomes very apparent of how lonely you feel when you are by yourself.
You're alone again. I shouldn't be thinking of you, thinking of me. I know.
Greetings, people. This is Mike, and this is the Daily Bread Podcast, where I come to you from a couch and I talk about my stuff, and you listen. And that's about what goes on here. Today, I'm going to chat about what's going on since the last episode, which the last one was pretty great if you haven't heard it, because it's how to look like a complete idiot and how to get someone to never talk to you again, apparently. So yeah. Actually, I did some reflecting on that episode and really looking back on it. It's definitely one of those situations that's cringy, but I think at the root of it all, there was a genuineness to it, and everything I was doing was based on like the urgency of me trying to like connect with this person was, really under a baseline was that I wanted to see them, but I was heading to New Jersey. I thought about this. I was heading to New Jersey and had about a 6-hour drive in front of me. So it was kind of like I kind of had to make a decision right there and then if I was going to go to Jersey, because my friend I was going to go stay with, I had texted him and he was like, "Hey, you're going to come down?" I was like, "I don't know. I may try to see someone, and if so, if things work out the way that I would hope they would work out, then I might be coming down tomorrow." And he's like, "Let me know." So at that point, by the time I was like calling and texting more so, it was like a mixture of, okay, there's a concern and a worry of where are you? Are you alive? And then there was another like internally thinking, shit, I gotta get on the road and I'm gonna hit like a shit ton of traffic because it's a Monday after July 4th, so I'm gonna get fucked if I don't leave soon. So lots of things, but if you haven't listened to that episode, go back and listen to it. And yeah, it's a thing. But I don't know. I just again thinking back to it, it said like how you fuck it up, but I mean, I kind of just think about like if it came across that in the opposite way of what I was really genuinely trying to say, then that to me is like that's a bummer. But I'll leave it at there, or I'll leave it at that. Today, I'm going to talk about how I've kind of alluded to, or I've not even alluded to, I've talked about a couple episodes ago, which at this point there's been quite a break in between episodes now. I thought I had this thing called IC, which is shit. What the fuck is it? Interstitial cystitis, and turns out there wasn't that, but I've been definitely having stomach issues, and I've been doing a lot of research, and it led me to work with this physician and nutritionist to kind of fix what's going on. So right now I'm basically on this 12-week thing where I cut out I cut out fucking caffeine, carbs, alcohol, and all these different foods that I typically don't eat unless I'm ordering out, which means that I was eating a lot of them because I was ordering out a lot. But if I'm making things or I grocery shop, then I usually just get like meat and vegetables. And I don't like buy things in a box, and I don't keep shit like that in my apartment. But when I go out, if I'm getting food after having a few drinks, it'll be like a burger, which has got bread, which is processed carbs, and like French fries and whatever they're cooking with is probably canola oil. So all this like bad shit. So right now I'm day what the fuck is this? Day 12 where I haven't had coffee, alcohol, carbs except for sweet potatoes. And white rice. Apparently, I can have white rice, which is if it's organic, U.S. grown, I can have white rice in the morning for like to give a boost of energy. I don't understand this, but I'm kind of just going with what they're telling me. But at this point, I've decided to just cut back on drinking for 90 days or 12 weeks. So I'll be finishing my second week on tomorrow. At the end of the day tomorrow will be the end of 2 weeks, and then Wednesday it's like this whole weird program where you cut things out, and then I'll be on this like detox thing for 2 weeks straight, and then you start adding food back in. My first thing is going to be cold brew. I mean, and I talked to the nutrition or the physician. They're like, "Oh, people rarely put caffeine back in." I was like, "Dude, there is just no substitute for having coffee in the morning replacing it with fucking tea. It is not the same. It's just not the same. And I'm listening to this book on it's like cutting back on alcohol, and this guy just goes hardcore talking, basically tries to talk you out of drinking. And I'm like listening to his reasoning, and he's like, alcohol just doesn't even taste good, and people says it tastes good. Like, I think beer tastes fucking really good. So I don't even know what this guy's talking about. So I'm still gonna listen to the book and just mentally find ways to cut back way more, so I don't find myself in this predicament of stomach problems. But yeah, but the first week was hard because in a day I cut out all of this stuff, and you're really cutting out your routine. So there's the physical aspect of not having caffeine in your body. So that's leaving your body and get me like a massive headache on Friday, and I was so irritable. I couldn't even like work on Friday, and Wednesday was the day where I just went cold turkey on everything. But your routine goes away. So the things that I enjoy doing, like I like going out by myself, but I'm sure there's places I can go out by myself, but I haven't figured them out yet. And I don't really want to go hang in a coffee shop and drink tea on a Saturday night at like 7 p.m. And some of them aren't even open because of this whole fucking pandemic, like that late. So that's this process of trying to figure out new things to do. But I went through this like whirlwind of emotions pretty much that first couple days into the weekend, and then after that, like the first 7 days was fucking nuts. And it's crazy. And I guess it's possibly my body flushing all this stuff out and like bringing things to the surface. But the cool thing about what I'm doing, I'm jumping all over the place as I usually do, but the cool thing is that when I reached out to this physician, I said, look, I don't want to do this. I don't want you to look at tea leaves or look at the clouds in the sky and say, this is what's wrong with you. I'm like, I want fucking data. And they said, yeah, we're going to do these tests on you. We're going to do a thyroid test, so a blood test. We're going to do a Dutch test, and we're going to do a Biome FX test. So it's like they're testing all of these things, which are very accurate. So I'm going to have actual data on what the fuck my body is doing, which is awesome. So you eliminate all these foods and you start adding them back in to see which ones fuck with you. And at the same time, you're also seeing like what's off in your body. So he's like giving you this super well-rounded view of myself. And I love this because I get so annoyed with all these fucking people on YouTube or podcasts or websites or blogs where they tell you what you should do, and I know everyone's body is different, so to find out what's going on with mine is perfect. And it's funny because I've been kind of saying this out loud. It's almost like I manifested this. I've just been saying like I need to know what's up with myself. So I'm really hoping that this works because I don't want to live on either end of the spectrum. I don't want to be going too hard, and I don't want to be going like doing nothing at all. I want to find this nice balance where I can control a balanced lifestyle and not have to keep going through things like this. I don't want to feel like shit, and I don't want to feel like shit because I'm eating and drinking crappy, and I don't want to feel like shit because I can't do anything. It just sucks. So I did this many years ago, which I've talked about before, and it's different because when you do it the first time, it's almost like a brand new experience. And when you do it a second time, you remember the first time, and it's like training for a marathon. When you train for your first marathon, which I haven't, I've trained for a half marathon. Like leading up to it, it's all brand new. And when you do it again, you remember all the shitty things along the way that you didn't know as you were going through it, which makes it definitely harder. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I just went for a walk. And one of the things in the last 2 weeks is that what I'm really trying to get back is my energy and motivation. And it's like not really coming back, and it's like slowly coming back. So it makes me, and all you have is time, especially on the weekends. If you don't do the same thing you've done before, and if your friends are out of town, like you kind of have to fend for yourself. And typically, my friends are out of town. Like I'll just go walk around town and just kind of peek and or jump into places and like have a beer, talk to the bartender, or just like bring my sketchbook and sketch while just sitting at a bar. It's always like bar, bar, bar. And when that goes away, you kind of it's like all you do is have time to think. And what you recognize, and which I've said this in other interviews, my God, my another podcast where I'm talking to myself, interviewing myself, is you just I feel the loneliness, and I don't like that. And it becomes very apparent of how lonely you feel when you are by yourself. And I think the reason I go out is because I don't have to stay by myself in this little cave that I've created, which is actually a nice apartment, and I've got a big window, so I have sun coming in. But I feel like I'm just in this little space, and I like being out and about and experiencing the world because this is all the time. In theory, all I have is this time on this planet for how many ever years I'm here, and I don't want to do that just sitting around watching fucking TV. Like I want to go out and just be in the world. Um, I don't know people listening. There's probably people listening who are sober and they don't drink at all, and they're probably like, "Oh, I do this, this, and this." And it's like I'm not there yet with replacing with what I want to do with like activities yet. So I'm hoping that I get this burst of energy. I'm waiting for this aha moment to happen with all this because you see these videos of people who gave up drinking and they're like, I have so much energy and I get so much done. And I think I'm still in this like kind of breakup phase right now with my old routine where I'm just kind of bummed about it. And I haven't let myself really find these new things to do. Which sucks is because I could get so much stuff done with my comic. I have all these ideas. I'm just not motivated to do any of them. And so me recording this podcast today was the first time I got motivated to do something. And I went for this walk around town and I was sitting on this bench in this park about a block from my apartment. And I'm listening to this podcast, Joe Rogan podcast. He's interviewing Adam Duritz. Adam Duritz. Let's see, what's his name? From Counting Crows. And Adam Duritz. So he's interviewing him, and something within that just sparked this. Oh, I should go do a podcast episode. So I like got up the bench and I like just ran here, and so kind of like slowly getting the boulder moving. And who knows, like I hope that it starts going. And I mean, I've got 10 weeks left of this. So if I'm feeling like this for 10 weeks, that's not going to be a good thing because then I'm really not going to want to do this again. But the motivation during all this is that my stomach is just tight. And the person I'm working with thinks it's like gastritis, probably just from eating really crappy or just getting older, I guess. But I've talked to a lot of people, not a lot of people, I could say that. I've talked to a handful of people, and they had the same issues, or they've had the same issues, or going through the same issues. So it's really interesting to hear that. So I don't know what those things could be. But another thing that I found out is I had mercury fillings, and I just got them removed on Friday, which is huge because I've been going through all of this holistic stuff to get to where I am right now. It's like I went through this sound healer person, and that led me to listen to her story about how when she was younger, she got mercury fillings and her health deteriorated. For about a couple decades, her health was really bad, and she found out somehow that mercury fillings were bad. So she got them removed, and her health rebounded after she got the mercury out of her system. And so when I heard that, I was like, that's really interesting. And I had just gone to the dentist for the first time in 13 years with no cavities. But they said, oh, in the conversation, they said, you have fillings, you have metal fillings. That's weird. And then when I talked to the sound healer woman, I told her about that. She's like, you should check if it's amalgam, and that's mercury. So then I called the place, and they said, oh, yeah, you have 4 amalgam fillings. I was like, oh, we need to get these out. But then you don't realize that you have to get them out in a special way. So the dentist I was going to was just going to drill them out and have me just swallow mercury and breathe in mercury. But you have to go to this thing called it's like a smart dentist, like smart mercury something removal technique, I think. and they do this whole process which keeps you safe and them safe, which is awesome. And it was really fast too. But they just drill them out. But they have like this thing in your mouth that's constantly sucking up anything like falling into your mouth, and they have oxygen in your nose, and they have this blanket on top of you that would collect the mercury of the dust if it fell on your clothes, and they have a hairnet, and you have these sunglasses on, and then they have all these masks on, and it's really interesting. So I got them out, and I don't know if it's psychosomatic, but I automatically felt better in a couple days. I felt because I had this massive brain fog, and today I don't have that, which is really cool, and that was starting to freak me out. And I think that could be a mixture of stress as well, but having that brain fog was like super weird, man. And when I was talking to the sound healer woman, she said, "Yeah, you're really susceptible to metal." How she knows that, no idea. But I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna believe what you're saying. And the sound healing thing was interesting because she sends you this audio file because it kind of like in theory, deletes bad files in your system. I was like, sure. But I felt like shit the next day after listening to this. So, I mean, physically felt awful. It's like it just flushed out whatever was my system. So, believe it or don't believe it, but it seemed like it worked, or it did its thing, whatever its thing was. And so now I'm in this whole like mercury detox thing, trying to figure out how to get the rest of it, because I got blood work done and it said I had like 13, like UG over L was the metric, and the report said 4.5 is good, 13 is, they had like a high, like a red H, capital H next to it, meaning like that's a high level. So now you have to take all these different, it's like chlorella, it's a thing called like a claw, so it goes in your system and it just binds to mercury, and just when it leaves your body, it takes it with it, or it takes it with it, which is cool, but it's also kind of crappy because that means I'm just gonna be flushing mercury into my water system, so that's gonna be fucked up. Who knows where that's gonna go? And then I got this. Oh, speaking of water, then I got this water system, this like Berkey. I bought this Aura ring to see how I'm sleeping. Like, I'm on a fucking mission right now to get better. And today I definitely feel better. Like, my stomach today felt a little weird, but I also had sushi on Saturday because they had said I could have rice and fish, but then I had a couple rolls. I had a couple bites of rolls that were like sugary, and there was soy sauce, so the soy. So I don't know if that's fucking my system today, but everything else, and like my portion, I think portion control is huge when you're trying to fix your gut, because it's so beat up that if you have an overload of food, it's trying to digest. It's like overworking an already overworked system, and it's not really helping it. So I think I have to really figure out controlling the portion sizes. So, but that's what's going on there. Which, so right now, and when I was sitting in the park right now, I just had like 3 thoughts of the things that I want to have happen now. It's like, I want my gut to heal. I want to find whatever this clarity I'm going to have, I'm hoping that I have I'm hoping that creates, what am I trying to say? I'm hoping it creates like a space for whatever creative thing I need to do. Like whatever this next thing is that I need to do, like I want that to show up. And then the third one, I was like, I really would like to finally meet somebody. Like I would really like to find the right person. And if you go back many episodes, I'm so against it, but now I'm officially finally open to it. But I don't just want to just date anybody. I want someone who lights me up. And to say that person lives within a X mile radius of where I live right now is a big ask, because it's a big fucking world. So to say that the person of my dreams is like living that close to me, it's a possibility. So who knows? But yeah, so those are the things I'm looking forward to. So that's all I got to say about that's all I got to say today. Hopefully, I'll be motivated, or just push past not needing motivation to get more of these out. But that's all I got. You haven't picked up the couples checklist book. I cannot fucking talk today. If you haven't picked up the couples checklist book, go to yourdailyBread.com. You can pick up a copy there and tag someone in my Instagram posts if you feel like they should be following. All right, later.